This is Dave McCain with the Right Tree Genealogy, doing a DNA topic this time on MyHeritage.com's DNA matching. MyHeritage.com DNA matching is a visual match triangulation. Disclaimer, you should always research a topic with additional resources. All data presented is from my personal account on MyHeritage.com. So what is triangulation anyway? Simply put, triangulation, or tri, means three. In this case, you have three people that are on the same chromosome they have at the same location. The next step in the next few slides here are going to show actual live data from MyHeritage account, and hopefully will help us understand together. Now, I've blocked out everything in the black blocks for privacy reasons, just to make it simple here. This is a brother and sister, Marjorie and Sanford, and they're whole siblings, not half siblings. On this page, you notice that they have this little block on the side here, kind of looks like a signal light. This actually is the area where the triangulation occurs. So these three individuals all triangulate to Marjorie and Sanford in certain chromosomes that are the same, and therefore considered triangulated, or ones you can usually attribute to or try to attribute to most recent common ancestors. To go into the DNA and see what the triangulation is, you click this button here. And when you go into this, you'll see a page like this. Now, you see a lot of red here for Marjorie to Sanford. Again, they're siblings, so they're going to have a lot of matching DNA. And this is Marjorie to Deborah. What I want to point out here is you'll see that there's a couple areas here that have little blocks or circles or ovals around them. These are considered triangulation zones. That means the DNA in these sections match all three of these people, Marjorie, Sanford, and Deborah, in the same location with the same half data. On MyHeritage, it means that there is a match for these three individuals. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper into this. This block here shows that there is a match of 9.9 centimorgans from 8.1 million to 11.8 million in this section on chromosome number 2. And on this section, chromosome number 7, 15.4 centimorgans at 43,748 to 8.2 million. And I want to talk about this for a second. You will see that you match someone, and that's the next step in MyHeritage. So if you match someone and you go into it and you look at their tree and you actually find a common ancestor, are there always going to be triangulation points between different members that you match with that could match each other? Do all matches have triangulation? Simply put, no. Some locations that show up as a match to one person and not a match to another person on the same chromosome. Only those marked with boxes are triangulation. DNA, each chromosome has DNA from your grandparents on your paternal side and grandparents from your maternal line. And so at this point, you may have a area or a location on the DNA that looks like it matches someone, but if it doesn't show triangulation on MyHeritage, don't say that they're from the same ancestor. The next thing is to see a few real slides. So let's go to those slides. On that same combination of Marjorie, Sanford, and Deborah, there are three zones here that show up as looking like they are matches, but they're not triangulation zones. Deborah and Marjorie have this area that looks like it's an overlap, 37.1 million to 90.1 million. This is 38.5 million to 141 million. They're in the same area on chromosome number 9. However, these are not triangulated by MyHeritage, and that's a good thing about MyHeritage, is they help you with understanding where triangulation is and is not. So if you don't see that block around it, don't assume it is a triangulation area. Matter of fact, assume it could be from a totally different family line. So what I'm saying here is, again, you have different grandparents' DNA that you can get. So if you're trying to put together, like DNA Painter is one of the softwares a lot of people are using now, and they're trying to paint in and say, hey, I'm related to this person through this line, or I'm related to this person through that line. You got to be careful with that. The longer the segments are, the more apt they are, and most likely that they are from a certain line. If you don't see that block around it between three people, it's not triangulation. Going back to this, we're going to go to the next slide in the conclusion. Not all matches are triangulated to other matches. Just because two matches are in the same general location on the chromosome does not make them the same lineage. And that's what I was pointing that here on this slide here. They have DNA in the same general area, but they're not triangulation zones. Visual matching on MyHeritage is not the same as triangulation. As stated above, the two matches can have chromosome locations similar and appear to match if compared, but not triangulated without the box. I've stated it multiple times in this video. You only want to look at the areas that are with boxes or ovals thereabouts around them to say that they would have the same common ancestor. And that's what you're looking at and trying to do your next level of discovery and learning on their trees. You want to look at their trees. Let's go back to the conclusions. Only use data for applications like DNA Painter and visual phasing that is traceable and triangulated on a particular family line. If you cannot reasonably determine which grandparent a match is from, then additional paper trail research is needed before using the data. You don't want to use every piece that you find. Just because a person appears to match the same person as you do could be on different lines, and most likely are if you don't see the triangulation symbol. So I'm going back to the beginning of the presentation for this purpose. Deborah, Sherry, and Frank, I know the relationship to Marjorie and to Sanford of each one of these individuals. And they have the triangulation zones. What it does mean, though, just because I know the ancestors that they match, each one of these siblings being only about 50% matched to each other, won't have all the same DNA as this person does to Marjorie, this person does to Marjorie or Sanford. If you don't see the triangulation, they're not a match. Now, I hope this video was informative to you. Additional questions on this, please post a comment, and then I'll try to do an updated video related to this. Over to the side here, you'll see an icon to subscribe. Up above me here, you will see a couple additional videos that I recommend that you watch. Let's continue learning together.